Okay, let's be real. Your firewall sucks too. Okay, welcome back. I'm Chris Burns from Techie Gurus. I'm in a different location today. I'm actually at my house. I'm shooting at a different camera as well. I was out of town last week. Out of respect to my team, I don't know if I got exposed to COVID. I'm taking precautions, so I get to shoot this from home. So let's start off. I'm going to talk about the top five things that makes your firewall suck. And I already know this because we've done tons of assessments. We've seen everything. I've been in this industry for more than 20 years. Trust me, I know a thing about firewalls that suck. So let's go with number one. You probably bought a consumer router from Best Buy or Amazon, or you're just using the one that your internet service provider gave you. So why is that bad? It's bad for a couple reasons. One, you have pretty much no protection with those. If you look at the news, a lot of those home routers that you're using, they don't get updated that often. And what happens is vulnerabilities happen, and then all of a sudden there'll be like some vulnerability in like a chip or something that's out there, and then millions of devices will be exposed where somebody can just run like some code and bypass your firewall. So that's bad. You want to make sure that you have a firewall that has subscription services that also has a warranty, and make sure that there's things that are happening that are making sure that's updated. Which brings me to number two. You probably don't have subscription services. Now, I know Linux people out there will be like, hey, there's open source firewalls that have subscription-like services that are free that you can run. Sure. They work. There's nothing wrong with them. Also, if you don't have support for them, you have to pay for support. Arguably, you can go buy an actual firewall that's dedicated hardware that works better than just loading up something like Untangle or pfSense on some white box hardware. Now, nothing wrong with that. I do that at my house. But for a business situation, normally buying a firewall prepackaged that has that subscription services to it makes it a lot better. There's support involved. It's a little bit higher quality hardware normally, so that things just keep working. So why do you want that? Pretty easy. You want DDoS protection, so against distributed denial of services. You want antivirus, anti-malware. We sell firewalls actually have like what's considered like a cloud-based detonation system where if you try to download something, you'll actually detonate it in the cloud to make sure it's not a virus before it actually enters your network, which is cool. Not every firewall offers that. I don't know if you really need that necessarily. We like it because it's really good for our customers, but that's not a guaranteed thing that you need. So number three, it only exists in your office. Let's be real, the pandemic has changed things. The work from home has changed things. If your firewall's only at your office, you're not protected when you go home. And some people will be like, well, I have a VPN back to my office. Okay, that's awesome. Except for most internet connections today are asynchronous, which means the upload speed at the office is significantly slower than the download speed. I'll give you an example. Comcast. Comcast is like, hey, we give you gig internet. Well, no, you give me 1 gig down. Upload is like 35 megabits. So you give me practically nothing compared to what my download speed is. So in a VPN situation, when you're sitting at your house and you're trying to VPN into the office and browse the internet, we have to turn on split tunneling because you can't send all your internet traffic down that tunnel, because if you did, you'd only be able to download at 35 megabits per second, tops, for all your employees, which would then kill the internet at the office, would hurt you because you'd be limited on how fast you can download, and your performance would be terrible. So that's not the solution that you want to go with either. Number four, it's probably underpowered. There's something out there called SSL decryption, and most threat actors, hackers, are using encrypted communications. So they're using like SSL and TLS certificates like your bank uses. Cool. Well, not cool, because we can't just open those up without having some sort of SSL decryption. Now, there's some people out there that don't like SSL decryption. We actually will not do it on bank sites. We'll put a bypass rule in, but for everything else, it's usually okay to do that while they're at the office, because it also allows us to see what traffic is going through there. That's important. But again, this is while you're at the office. If we go back to number three, if you're not at the office, it's not working. So let's go with number five. It's probably misconfigured. Let's be real. I've seen hundreds of firewalls, actually maybe thousands of firewalls, and a lot of them are misconfigured. The admin portal might be available on the internet, which is bad practice because if somebody can guess the password to your firewall, guess what? They can make a VPN for them. They can do things like, I don't know, redirect certain traffic. They can open up firewall roles for like RDP into your network. Things like that. You don't want that enabled. And go back to misconfigured. Maybe you do have RDP enabled. That's not good. You definitely do not want that on the internet. So you want to make sure your firewall is configured properly. Look, we all make mistakes. Even we misconfigure firewalls from time to time, but one of the things that we do is we go back and review those configurations routinely to make sure that we fix those. So a misconfigured firewall could actually be really bad, or even worse than having, well, maybe not. It could be worse than having like a consumer firewall because you've opened up ports that you shouldn't have. Also, maybe they didn't actually block outgoing traffic. One of the things that we see is that you have to block outgoing traffic as well, because in a command and control situation, like if somebody downloads something, it's going to try to go out and connect back to a control server where maybe somebody can actually control a PC through an encrypted connection. And if you can't stop that, that connection is going to be there and it's just going to bypass your firewall anyway. Which I didn't put number 6 in here, but number 6 really would be firewalls are easily bypassed. When a user clicks on something and downloads something and it is able to go out and do a command and control, it bypasses your firewall. They're past it. You still need a firewall to stop those common attacks, but it is something that's easily bypassed. So what do? Well, one of the things you could do is, since we live in a world now where it's work from home a lot, it's distributed. Maybe you're in an airport, maybe you're at a coffee shop, maybe you're at your house, maybe you're in another country. We like to run SASE products for zero trust, but what that really means is it's a firewall and it's a protection for intrusion detection and prevention that runs on your actual PC as well. And it runs in the cloud. So when you connect out, all of your internet goes through a cloud. It's run through a better firewall, realistically, a more powerful firewall. All the SSL encryption we can do malware detection and things like that, all done in the cloud. So it gives you a secure connection, but then that also allows you to then connect to other devices over that, where we can do zero trust, where if you're not on this, you can actually connect. A good example is try to connect back in your office. If you're someplace remote and you want to be able to connect in your office, you can do it without a traditional VPN. So it gives you the protection, it gives you performance, but it makes it a lot easier. Now, you still need a firewall at your edge, like we talked about. That's layered defense. That's something we have to focus on, and I'll probably cover that in a future video. But you also need to do it at the device level as well. So one of the things that we can do is we can actually test your firewall. So we can come in, run some software, and we can tell you, hey, look, if somebody clicks on an email and they do set up a command and control, can they actually communicate out? And if they can, that's a problem. And we can show you that. We can also show you like anything else that's wrong with your security. So if you feel like you're not quite as secure as you need to be, or if you just want to say no, if your IT provider is doing what they need to do to protect you, go to techiegurus.com/testmysecurity, fill out the form. We're going to have a 15-minute conversation. We're going to see if you're fit. And if you're fit, we can go through and we can kind of give you an idea of like really quickly about how protected you really are and what things you might need to change. We're out here to help people. Our goal is to help more than 1 million people, and we're only going to do that by helping businesses protect themselves and in turn protect their employees, and it goes down the line. So until next time, stay cyber safe, and I'll see you next week.